His lips were on my neck, hot and unrelenting, while my fingers curled desperately against the bedsheet. His body pressed mine into the mattress as though the world outside no longer existed. Every kiss, every touch, every movement was charged with a hunger that made me gasp for air. He whispered against my skin, "You're mine tonight. Only mine." And for a moment, I let myself believe it. But deep down, behind the moans and the desperate pleasure, a shadow lingered. Because what he gave me was not just passion, it was obsession. It was his unwavering Cloud 7 pleasure, the kind that made my body scream while my heart whispered warnings. Before I take you further into my story, let me pause. Backhand index pointing right please. If you're listening right now, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves hearing real stories. Trust me, what I'm about to reveal will keep you hooked till the end. Now, let me take you back. Back to where it all began. I wasn't looking for trouble. I wasn't even looking for love. I was just a married woman, living in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. My husband, let me keep his name hidden, wasn't a bad man. He was responsible, hardworking, the kind who paid bills on time and made sure the lights never went out in our home. But responsibility is not the same as intimacy. He gave me a roof, yes, but no warmth. He gave me security, yes, but no fire. Our marriage bed had turned cold. Nights rolled into weeks, weeks into months, and I felt myself shrinking, unseen and untouched. At first, I tried to fix it. I dressed up for him, cooked his favorite meals, slipped notes in his jacket pockets. But each time, his response was the same tired smile, followed by silence. Eventually, I stopped trying. My body was alive, craving, but inside that house I was invisible. And that's when he appeared. Marcus. I met him one late afternoon in the gym I had reluctantly joined. My husband had been encouraging me to stay fit, not out of care, but out of habit, the way someone waters a plant just so it doesn't die. Marcus was different. He noticed me the way my husband hadn't in years. The way his eyes lingered when I entered the room told me I was still a woman worth looking at. He was taller than most men I knew, with a confidence that filled the space around him. His smile was daring, the kind that made you wonder if he already knew your secrets. The first time he approached me, I was running on the treadmill, pretending to be focused. He leaned in, lowered his voice, and said, "You run like you're running from something." I laughed it off, but deep down, he was right. I was running, from emptiness, from loneliness, from a marriage that had slowly silenced me. It started innocent. Small talks. Friendly nods. Then came the longer conversations after workouts, where I found myself opening up in ways I never thought I would with a stranger. He listened. He looked at me as if every word I said mattered. And that was dangerous. Because attention is the seed. And once planted, it grows. One evening, when the gym was nearly empty, he offered to drive me home. My heart pounded because I knew what that invitation meant, not just a ride, but a door opening to something I had silently craved. I said yes. That drive was the beginning of a storm I could not control. He didn't touch me, not then. But his hand brushed mine when I reached for the radio, and that single touch burned longer than anything my husband had given me in years. When he dropped me off, his eyes held mine a second too long. "See you tomorrow," he said, voice low and promising. And from that moment, I wasn't just a wife anymore. I was a woman standing on the edge of something dangerous, something intoxicating. Something I wasn't ready to let go. That was the beginning. But trust me, it didn't stop there. What Marcus gave me would take me to heights I had never known, and then drag me into a nightmare I couldn't escape. Backhand index pointing right, and if you're still here with me, don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and share it so more people can follow this journey. Because what comes next is where the fire really begins. I told myself after that first night that it would never happen again. That I would close the door on him, lock away the hunger I had tasted, and return to my ordinary life like nothing had happened. But if I'm being honest with you, I was lying to myself. Because the truth? I couldn't stop thinking about him. His smell. His voice. The way he held me like he owned me, like my body had only been created for his pleasure. It was dangerous, it was wrong, but my God, it was also the most alive I had felt in years. You see, my husband, he's a good man. He provides, he listens when I speak, he's steady. But that steadiness had become silence. That silence had become absence. And in that absence, another man slipped in. He wasn't gentle, he wasn't careful, but he was fire. And once fire touches you, you can't unburn yourself. I'd wake up in the morning next to my husband, pretending, smiling, playing the part of the faithful wife. But under the bedsheets, my body still hummed with the memory of another man's hands. That's when I knew I wasn't just having an affair. I was becoming addicted. Backhand index pointing right before I tell you how deep I went, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who understands forbidden stories. Because what I'm about to confess next, it will shock you. The days after that first encounter were a blur of stolen moments. He would text me at odd hours. Thinking of you. Can't get last night out of my head. Meet me again. Soon. At first, I resisted. I told him I couldn't. I had too much to lose. But he knew exactly what to say to break down my walls. He didn't beg, he demanded. And that demand, it made me feel wanted in a way I hadn't felt in years. So, I caved. Again. And again. We started meeting in places that felt like they belonged only to us. His car parked behind a grocery store late at night. A cheap motel on the edge of town. Once, even in his office after hours. Each time, the risk made the heat stronger, the passion wilder. I knew it was dangerous. But the danger was part of the thrill. Every time he touched me, I sank deeper into his world. He had this way of looking at me, like I was the only woman alive, like he had built his entire hunger around me. And I loved it. God help me, I loved it. But with every high came the crash. After he was done with me, when the sweat dried and reality settled, guilt would creep in. I'd sit in my car before driving home, hands shaking on the steering wheel, wondering if my husband would smell another man on my skin. Wondering if my kids, when they hugged me, would somehow sense the betrayal in my heartbeat. And yet, the next time he called, I went running. He made me laugh. He made me feel bold. He made me feel like the woman I used to be before responsibility dulled me down. He started to text me things like, "You belong to me now," and though it should have scared me, it thrilled me. That's the thing about addiction, you tell yourself you're in control, but really, you're a slave to it. By the third week, he didn't even ask me if I was free. He told me, "Meet me at noon. Leave your phone in the car this time. Don't wear anything underneath." And I obeyed. Every single time. But little cracks started to show. He began asking questions about my husband, where he was, when he traveled, when I was alone at home. His tone wasn't just curious, it was sharp, like he wanted to control more than just my body. And me? I ignored those red flags because the pleasure blinded me. Because his kiss burned away every doubt, at least in the moment. But I remember one afternoon, lying in his bed, his chest rising under my cheek, when he whispered something that made me freeze. He said, "One day, you won't need him. You'll only need me." And my heart skipped, not in excitement, but in fear. Because suddenly, I realized he wasn't just my escape anymore. He was trying to become my entire world. Backhand index pointing right if you're still here, listening to this confession, don't forget to hit like, share this video, and subscribe. Because the deeper I went, the darker it got. And what came next? I still can't believe I survived it. I wish I could tell you that I stopped. That I walked away before it got worse. But no. I kept going. I wanted him too much. I needed that fire, even if it burned me. And so, I stepped willingly into the nightmare that was waiting for me. The more I gave him, the more he wanted. At first, it was thrilling, his hunger, his urgency, his hands always reaching, always claiming me. But then, something changed. What started as passion began to twist into possession. He didn't just want my body anymore. He wanted my time. My mind. My entire life. It started small. He'd get annoyed when I didn't answer his texts fast enough. He'd ask where I was, who I was with, why I hadn't picked up on the first ring. At first, I laughed it off, telling myself he was just passionate. But deep inside, I knew it was more than that. One night, after I told him I couldn't meet because I had dinner with my husband and kids, he sent me a message that made my blood run cold. Enjoy your little family night. But don't forget, you're mine. That word, mine. It wasn't playful anymore. It was a warning. Backhand index pointing right before I take you deeper into this nightmare, please pause for a moment, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it. Your support keeps these confessions alive. Now, let's go back into the fire. He began showing up unannounced. Once at the grocery store while I was shopping with my son. Another time outside the salon where I was getting my nails done. He'd smile, play it cool in front of others, but later he'd whisper in my ear, "See? I know where you are. I can always find you." At first, it was flattering. The idea of someone watching me, wanting me so desperately. But slowly, it stopped feeling like love. It felt like a trap tightening around me. I tried to pull back, even just a little. I told him I needed space, that I couldn't keep sneaking out so much. That maybe we should slow things down. His response? He laughed. Then he kissed me hard, pressing me against the wall of his office, and said, "You'll never leave me. I won't let you." The scary thing? For a moment, part of me didn't want to. My husband started noticing changes. He didn't know what, exactly, he wasn't suspicious. But he'd look at me longer, as if trying to figure me out. I was distracted at dinner. I'd smile at nothing, thinking of a text waiting for me. I'd excuse myself to the bathroom just to hear his voice. I told myself I could handle it. That I was in control. But the truth? He was controlling me, and I was too weak, or too addicted, to fight back. Then came the night everything shifted. He asked me to meet him at the motel, our usual spot. I almost said no because my husband had just come back from a business trip, and I wanted to play the perfect wife for at least one night. But he wouldn't take no for an answer. "You think you can deny me?" he texted. "You think he can keep you from me?" I should have been scared. I should have blocked him. But instead, I went. Like a fool, I went. When I arrived, he wasn't his usual self. He wasn't smiling. His eyes were dark, his movements sharp. He barely kissed me before he pulled me inside, locking the door. That night wasn't like the others. It wasn't passion, it was power. He wanted to prove something. To show me that I belonged to him and no one else. And while my body responded, my mind screamed in fear. For the first time, I realized I wasn't just in an affair. I was in danger. Afterward, I lay there trembling, his arm heavy across my stomach. He whispered against my ear, "Don't ever think about leaving me. I know where you live. I know your family. You wouldn't want to ruin their little world, would you?" That was the moment I knew this wasn't just a secret pleasure anymore. It was a nightmare. And the worst part? I had walked into it willingly. Backhand index pointing right if you're still listening, please like, share, and subscribe. Because the deeper I take you, the darker this confession gets. And trust me, you won't believe what happened next. Fear is a strange thing. It doesn't come crashing in like thunder. It creeps, slow and quiet, wrapping itself around your bones until breathing feels like betrayal. That's how it was with him. After that night at the motel, the one where he showed me his darkness, I couldn't shake the weight of his words. You'll never leave me. I know where you live. I know your family. I carried those words with me everywhere. At the dinner table with my husband, while helping my daughter with her homework, while folding laundry. On the outside, I was still the picture-perfect wife, but inside, I was crumbling. The thrill was gone. Now, every text made my stomach twist. Every phone call made me jump. But still, I couldn't stop. Because even in the fear, there was fire. And that fire was killing me. One afternoon, he called me while I was at the park with my kids. His voice was calm, almost too calm. I see you, he said. I froze, scanning the playground. Dozens of families, kids running, mothers chatting. But I couldn't see him. Where are you? I whispered. Close enough, he answered. Don't forget, you're mine. Even here. I ended the call, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. My kids ran up to me, laughing, asking for ice cream, and I forced a smile. Inside, I was dying. Backhand index pointing. Right before I go on, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it. I need you with me as I keep unraveling this truth, because what comes next, it still haunts me. I started to pull away. Not because I was brave, but because I was terrified. I ignored his calls. I delayed my replies. I made excuses, told him I was busy, that my husband was watching me closely. That's when his obsession exploded. He showed up outside my house once. Not close enough for my husband to notice, but I saw his car parked across the street. Waiting. Watching. I nearly dropped the casserole dish I was carrying when I caught sight of him through the window. Later, he texted me. Your kitchen lights are too bright. He'll never love you like I do. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to my husband's soft breathing beside me, and wondered how I'd gotten here. How I'd gone from stolen kisses and motel sheets to living in a cage I built myself. I thought about telling my husband. Confessing everything. But fear held my tongue. What if he left me? What if this man hurt my family out of revenge? No. I couldn't risk it. So instead, I pretended. Smiled through family dinners. Laughed at my husband's jokes. Sat through Sunday church service with my hands folded neatly, while inside I was screaming. But the secret weighed on me so heavily, I began to lose pieces of myself. The breaking point came one night when he showed up at my door. Not knocking, not ringing the bell. Just standing there when I opened it to take out the trash. His eyes were dark, wild. He stepped forward, and I had to push my body against the frame to block him from entering. You've been ignoring me, he said, his voice low and sharp. Do you think you can run from me? Do you think he can keep you safe? I whispered, please, go. My kids are inside. For a moment, I thought he'd push past me. But instead, he leaned in close, his breath hot against my ear. Remember this, I gave you pleasure no one else could. Cloud 7. That's where I took you. And you'll never escape it. Not in this life. Then he walked away, leaving me trembling in the doorway, clutching the trash bag like a shield. That night, I cried silently beside my sleeping husband. The nightmare wasn't just about the danger anymore, it was about me. About how much I had let myself fall, how much I had destroyed just to feel alive. And I knew, if I didn't find a way out soon, he would consume me completely. Backhand index pointing right. If you're still here, please like, share, and subscribe. Because chapter 5 is the climax, the night everything came crashing down. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Never thought I'd be the kind of woman to live in fear of her own shadow. But by then, that's what I had become. Every car that slowed near my house made my heart stop. Every text alert made my throat tighten. I knew something had to give. Either he would destroy me, or I'd destroy myself keeping this secret. It happened on a Friday night. My husband had taken the kids to his parents' place, giving me a rare evening alone. I had planned to pour myself a glass of wine, slip into pajamas, and finally breathe. But peace was never mine to keep anymore. The knock came at 9:13 p.m. Soft at first, then harder. I froze. My wine glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the tile. My feet moved before my mind did, carrying me to the door. And there he was, standing in the porch light, his smile sharp, dangerous, almost tender. "You thought you could ghost me," he whispered. I shook my head, my words breaking. "Please, not here. My family." "Your family," he cut in, stepping closer. "You think they'll ever love you the way I did? The way I do? I gave you heaven, baby. Cloud 7. And you're nothing without it." He pushed inside before I could stop him. The scent of his cologne hit me, familiar, intoxicating, revolting all at once. My heart was pounding so loudly I thought the neighbors would hear it. He grabbed my wrist, pulled me against him, and hissed, "You belong to me." And in that moment, something in me snapped. It wasn't desire. It wasn't love. It was rage. Rage at him. Rage at myself. Rage at every secret I had swallowed until it poisoned me. I shoved him back, my voice trembling but firm. "No. I don't belong to you. I never did. You weren't heaven, you were my nightmare. And I'm done." His eyes darkened, and for a second I thought he'd hit me. Instead, he laughed. Low. Broken. Almost sad. "You'll come back. You always do." And then he walked out. Just like that. But this time, I didn't chase. I locked the door behind him, slid down to the floor, and sobbed until my chest hurt. The days after weren't easy. He still called. Still texted. Still tried to remind me of the pleasure he claimed only he could give. But I didn't answer anymore. I blocked him. Changed numbers. Deleted every trace of him from my phone. My husband never found out. My children never knew. To the world, I was still the perfect wife, the smiling mom, the woman who had it all together. But deep inside, I carried scars. Because Cloud 7 wasn't pleasure. It was a trap. And while I escaped, a part of me would always remember the fire, the thrill, the fear. And that's why I'm here. Telling you this. Anonymous. Hidden. Because I need you to understand, the things that feel like heaven can sometimes be the quickest path to hell. Backhand index pointing right before you leave, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it. My nightmare might be over, but maybe sharing it will stop someone else from walking into the same fire.